Have you ever scrolled through social media and thought, everyone else's life looks so much better than mine? You might see friends going on exciting vacations, other people getting promotions at work, or people you don't even know living what seems to be a perfect life. It's easy in these moments to start comparing yourself to others. Suddenly, you're focusing on everything you don't have or haven't accomplished yet, and feeling like your own life is falling behind. This feeling of being inadequate because of someone else's achievements, looks, or lifestyle is completely normal. We all do it from time to time, but if left unchecked, constantly comparing yourself to others can really damage your confidence, happiness, and overall mental health. So today, we want to talk about why we compare ourselves to others, why it's so harmful, and most importantly, what you can do about it. Let's start by looking at why we compare ourselves to others in the first place. The human brain is wired for social connection, and one of the ways we navigate our social world is by comparing ourselves to those around us. By doing this, we get a sense of where we stand, what's expected of us, and how we should feel. For example, if you're single and most of your friends are in relationships, you might start to feel like there's something wrong with you or that you're falling behind. Or let's say you have a lot of student loan debt and your peers are buying houses while you're still renting. You might start to think there's something wrong with you, that you're not achieving those same milestones as them. Sometimes these comparisons can be helpful. Let's say you're a musician and you notice that your favorite artists are always selling out huge concert tours. Seeing this might inspire you to practice harder and improve your craft. In this case, you're using the other person's success as motivation to achieve the same thing yourself. However, when comparisons become harmful, is when you start measuring your self-worth based on how you stack up against someone else. So instead of saying, I want to be a better musician so I can achieve my dream of touring, it becomes, I am not good enough as a musician because I'm not famous yet. When you start framing your thoughts like this, you're placing your happiness and value in something outside of your control. You're essentially saying that you are only worthy if you are better than somebody else, which is impossible. Because no matter how successful you are, there will always be someone who is more successful than you, and therefore, by this logic, you would never be good enough. Also, when you compare yourself to others, you're only seeing a highlight reel of their lives. You're not actually seeing the full picture. Social media especially can make this problem worse because people often portray an unrealistic or heavily edited version of themselves online. You might see your friend's Instagram stories of them having the time of their life on vacation and think your own life is boring by comparison. But are they really having that much better of a time than you? Maybe they just chose to share that part of their trip on social media. Not only can comparing yourself to others harm your mental health, but it can also hurt your relationships. When you're constantly one-upping your friends, the relationship stops being about sharing and caring for one another and instead becomes competitive and transactional. You might find yourself keeping score in your mind of who has the nicer house, the better job, or the more likes on their Instagram post. Another way that comparing yourself to others can hurt your relationships is by making you resentful of the other person. For example, let's say you and a friend have similar jobs, but they get the promotion you both wanted. If you compare yourself to them, you might start to resent them for getting the promotion because you feel like you should have been the one to get it. Instead of being happy for them, you're harboring negative feelings that can ultimately damage your friendship. So now that we know why we compare ourselves to others and how harmful it can be, let's talk about what we can do instead. First, recognize that everyone is on their own path. When you compare yourself to someone else, you're assuming that they started at the same place as you and had the same opportunities. But everyone's journey is unique. They may have had advantages that you didn't, or vice versa. Try to focus on your own path and celebrate your own progress. This can be hard to do when everyone around you seems to be doing better than you. That's why it's important to remember that you do not actually know what's going on behind closed doors. Remember that social media especially gives people an incentive to portray their lives as better than they really are. Just because someone seems to have their life together on social media doesn't mean they don't have problems in their personal or professional life. Everyone is struggling in their own way. Another thing you can do to stop comparing yourself to others is to set internal goals instead of external ones. When you set external goals, you're focused on achieving something that will make you look better or be more successful in the eyes of others. For example, wanting to buy a house in order to impress your friends or colleagues. On the other hand, internal goals are those that will make you feel better personally. These are things that you want to accomplish for yourself because they're important to you. An example of an internal goal is wanting to buy a house because you want to have a place that you can make your own and feel comfortable in. When you set internal goals, you're less likely to compare yourself to others because you're focused on what you want for yourself rather than what you think others want for you or what you think they have. If you want some more tips on setting effective goals, check out this video here. Next, try to reframe your thoughts. When you catch yourself comparing yourself to someone else, try to reframe your thoughts in a more positive light. Instead of thinking, "Why can't I be like them?" think, "What can I learn from them?" When you approach comparisons in this way, you're less likely to feel bad about yourself because you're focusing on the other person's strengths rather than your own weaknesses. For example, let's say you're not very creative and you admire someone who is. Instead of thinking, "I wish I was more creative," try to reframe it as, "Wow, I'd love to learn how to be more creative." Then, take action to improve your skills in that area. By taking action, you'll feel more confident in your own abilities and less threatened by other people's talents. This is because when you're working towards your own goals, you're taking steps to improve your own life. And when you're focused on improving your own life, you have less time and energy to worry about what other people have. Finally, it can also help to talk to someone about your feelings. If you're struggling to stop comparing yourself to others, reach out to a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional. Talking about your feelings can help you to process them and develop a healthier perspective. They may be able to offer support and encouragement when you're feeling down or help you to see the situation from a different angle. The bottom line is that comparing yourself to others is a natural human tendency, but it can quickly turn into a destructive habit. When you start measuring your self-worth based on how you stack up against others, you open yourself up to a lifetime of unhappiness and dissatisfaction. Instead, try to focus on your own path and set internal goals that are meaningful to you. Easier said than done, right? No one can change the fact that other people exist or that they will always be better at certain things than you are. But it is in your control whether or not you allow their existence to dictate how you feel about yourself. With some effort and self-awareness, you can learn to stop comparing yourself to others and start appreciating your own unique gifts and talents. After all, you are the expert on your own life, and only you can decide what success or happiness looks like for you. And if that means earning an award, great. But if it doesn't, that's okay too. You can decide what matters to you. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends and leave a comment below with any other topics you'd like us to cover in future videos. See you next time.